Boom. Touchdown. We back. I did the countdown. I like that. I like the movies. I saw it on TV once. I feel like I'm on TV sometimes. It's a really fucked up show, but I feel like I'm on TV sometimes. But we're back with Bluebird on your shoulder for another week of pure fuckery. Very exciting stuff. Not really very exciting stuff. More like slow Chinese water torture. So excellent. We had some interesting stuff happen this week. I know we have our little powery pointy. So I'm not really sure if I'm supposed to talk into things in or out of order. I know you gave me rules and I didn't pay attention because that's not me. Try to put me in your little box. And
Clearly.
Yeah. No, you were like, talk about whatever we want on this slide. I remember that part. So, but I don't know what that means. Like talk about stuff that are on other slides or not on other slides. I should ask these questions before.
Yeah, you should have paid attention to what was on the slides, and then
I did
know if you were talking about what's.
I do
talk about what's not on the slide.
Well, I gotta go to other bullet points. So, okay, here, good. Got one that's not on the slides. Fuck you. So Reuters ran an investigation, right? So Reuters is like a well-known media news agency, so probably fake news. So probably gonna call that fake news.
Of course. So
they did an investigation and found that federal sex trafficking charges through June were running at their slowest pace since 2010. Only 73 defendants, about 22% below the comparable average for the previous years. Current and former officials cited agents being reassigned to immigration enforcement personnel losses.
So it's not a reduction in sexual or what did you say? Child sex trafficking? It's just that we don't have anybody.
Well, sex trafficking in general, not necessarily children.
Well, okay. But it's not a reduction in, it's just that they're not even paying any attention to it anymore.
No, correct, because immigration is more important, right? And we have to get the numbers there. So, so sex trafficking crackdown, they say it's a priority, but they're failing at that miserably, right? So Reuters did that, and they're failing at that miserably for brown people in America who left a really bad situation and came over here.
Yeah. So, and are committing a misdemeanor.
Yeah. That's very, very true. So one of the other things that definitely happened, a misdemeanor like jaywalking.
Exactly.
And then they have all that rhetoric, right, about Epstein and trafficking and how important it is, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and in reality, they're going to pull all their resources from that. And so now the only one out here really doing anything about it at all is Ashton Kutcher and Tim Tebow. So those two be on it. They be on it, dude. I got to give them credit. They be on it.
New Mexico's doing something. They're still investigating the Epstein files.
No, I didn't mean the Epstein files. Kutcher and Tim Tebow, they both run separate organizations, but completely dedicated to different forms of child pornography, sex trafficking. Man, every time I watch them talk or give a thing in front of Congress, it just proves how fucked up America is. So, and then one of the other things that popped up, Trump's White House reportedly pushed DOJ to reconsider prosecutions after prosecutors dropped cases Trump disliked. Yeah, they trumped cases, drumped them. So the White House asked the DOJ to explore new charges over alleged vandalism at the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. After federal prosecutors dropped previous cases because Trump publicly attacked U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro. Wasn't she like on TV?
Yeah.
Jeanine Pirro.
Yeah, she was one of those reality TV judges.
Yeah, okay. I thought so. I thought that name rang a bell. So he publicly attacked her over the dismissals because prosecutors had concluded the damage was related to problems with the renovation rather than alleged vandalism. So,
yes, instead of, accusing international athletes of vandalism, they decided that pleasing him was more important.
Yeah, they do that, right? They do that. So,
yeah, and she they originally said that he wasn't upset with her about it, but now they're saying that there's been hints that he's pretty irate about it, and that's why he's trying to get it to be rehashed, despite not having any evidence to the contrary.
Yeah, I feel you on that. They don't need evidence. This is the other world, bro. Why would he need evidence? We don't need any evidence. We don't need any evidence at all in any way, shape, form, or otherwise. So we're just living in, on the edge. So I don't think this is you're pushing buttons. Look, well, you're flipping you tell me we can talk about whatever, and then you push the fucking buttons. So you just can't handle it yourself. I swear to it.
I can't.
You have an AD button. So, all right, cool. We can talk about some of this. These are earlier bullet points. I'm getting into the fun stuff. So Trump at a historic low, right?
Yep.
33% approval.
We kind of touched on that a little bit last week, but more than that, the Democrats are leading a generic congressional ballot by D+8, with independents shifting it to a D+16 since January of 2025. So that's really encouraging news, for those that are hoping for a blue wave, that, are wondering if it's going to happen, or if we're going to, botch it like we did last time.
I think it's going to come down to turnout, right? Like usual. If we have the turnout we're supposed to have, then.
Well, I think that I'm starting to see a lot more news agencies reporting on the things that I speculated back in January, which was that, he's going to be looking at ways to institute martial law. He's going to have ICE agents at polling places, or at polling centers, and that he's going to do anything that he needs to do in order to avoid losing power. And now the thing is that he may not have too much to worry about, because what they're saying is that the chances of the Democrats taking the Senate are pretty slim. And if maintains even just a narrow margin in the Senate, then, the House will do exactly what they did last time, impeach him over everything he does wrong, and the Senate won't hold him accountable. So,
well, I don't think we take the Senate no matter what happens. And if we do, not by a margin that we could actually prosecute the impeachment. So,
right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think that happens. We would need too many. If it did, that's epic, right? I'm good for it. Like, oh, dude, run naked.
Should have happened twice last time, but
Well,
yeah,
because we don't show up to vote, or the middle moved really hard, right? Because I will never say we didn't run a viable candidate. I feel like we did run a viable candidate, but we ran a viable candidate without a viable process to choose said candidate.
Well, and even more than that, it was rushed. It was.
Well, yeah,
she only had like 68 days to mount a campaign that would win her the presidency. So
yeah, so dude, the Hunter Biden interviews on the fallen archangels of MAGA talking head shows is fucking wild. It's absolutely wild. Like, so I thought he was, when we were talking last week, I thought he was on, I had saw him on Tucker, but that wasn't the case. He was on Tucker this week.
Was he?
So I think I saw previews of him being on Tucker and confused it with his interview with Candace. I'm pretty sure that's what happened in the last episode. But it's just wild to watch him go on and on about, like, I don't know. He pretty much flat out said if we ran my dad, he probably would have won. What do you think? I'd be curious.
If we run Biden,
yeah, that's what he said. Hunter said if we ran Joe, he would have won.
If he had been able to show up, and put his foot, even a foot forward, would have probably won it. But he was really struggling there to keep his head on him. He was getting tired easy. He was overtaxed. He'd run a hard 4 years of
Dude, being
kind
president
of riding the boat, you know?
Being president's hard.
Fuck yeah.
Just watching
mean-
how they age, that just tells me I don't need the job.
Yeah.
No, I'm already bald, so
Yeah.
I'll be all right. So, but fuck.
I don't know. You get angry when you don't get enough sleep.
I get angry because I woke up. So,
Yeah.
I get
So
angry breathing.
or lack thereof. Yeah, I think that all we can really hope for is to take the house and try to take the horse, take the house and make him a lame duck for the second half.
I think that works, right?
Yeah.
That's effective. So I'm good with that. I don't think so. I think a lot of action he had with I can't describe to you what's happening right now. I don't understand. Sometimes I wonder how this kid gets up in the morning and puts his shoes on his right feet. He's using a cooking utensil holder for a dipping tray, putting his dipping sauces in. You would fucking approve. You would.
I don't use many dipping sauces.
So. Well, no, you don't eat sauces. You're sausage. I understand what you're doing. I watched you do it. So I don't understand how he gets up and puts the right shoe on the right foot. I don't. So there's like 846 little plates in the cupboard for that. But nah, it's fine. We'll just use the I can't. Turning into Billy. It's happened. But no, what I was gonna say is they really won the election very strongly on the backs of a lot of podcasters and talking heads, and they're gone. They bailed. They have all bailed like shit. And I wonder if they got paid or if they actually believed. Maybe a combination of the two. So, but it's a wild reality. It's an absolute wild
outrage is what sells. So, I think that they were chasing numbers in order to get, views in order to make money. So just like the news agents, the news agencies all, followed Trump and gave him a platform to, spit just the most ludicrous things. And we all just kind of watched with our mouth hanging open, like, why is this still going on? After Access Hollywood, that should have been it. He talked about sexually assaulting women and getting away with it, and then we elected him president. These media companies, these influencers, they're complicit in this, and I think that
held liable.
They should be. I
class
firmly
action
believe
lawsuit.
That. Well, I think it boils down to you need somebody who will investigate in order to find out if they knowingly participated in spreading lies.
Version,
But
why you just keep going back and forth between the two sides?
You're
gonna give people. Go back to the slide before. You're gonna give people fucking, what is that, a seizure? You can give the epileptic seizure, bro. Stop fucking doing it. So, but yeah, so the reasonings on here, I like this little part of the slide, the reasonings for the disapproval, right, of 33%, or the approval of 33%. Gas prices, bro. If you allow gas prices to rise in America, you will not get elected. That's the thing.
That's so crazy.
And it is. So it's crazy. Like what? It's almost 75%, 70%, it looks like, of the people. That's their reason. And then we have economy getting worse. Well, those two things go together, but that's only 60% of people. Not honest or trustworthy. Also a little over 60% of.
Yeah. Not even as much as gas prices.
Right. Only. No. Well, then again, I guess, you know what? Now that I said it out loud like that, we don't think any politician is honest. So, okay, fair.
That is kind of what their go-to, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Well, no politician is honest, so
Yeah,
that
well, that's not the
excuses
go-to, bro.
him.
That's just probably true. The country is moving in the wrong direction. You don't fucking say. So it's not going forward or backward. It's going down. So Trump is too old. Yeah, I'm with them. Like 55. I think he
Well,
is.
they've been showing him, asleep at every single function, in the past like month. So
He has been sleeping pretty hardcore. That's true. I'm not even mad at him, dude.
well, no, I mean, we just talked about like it is a hard job. That man has never worked hard a day in his life. So for him to have to actually do the actual job of
Right.
being president is too hard for him.
This last one, though, is disapprove of Trump, and I don't understand what that means because we're talking about his approval rating. So, of course, you would disapprove of Trump if you don't approve of it. I kind of understand the gist of it, but they worded that really weird.
Yeah.
So,
they
they don't like, I don't like Trump as a person, therefore.
Right.
So,
exactly right.
You'd flip out right now because he's mixing ketchup and barbecue sauce and dipping things in it. Yeah, I knew you were going to do that. So for a guy who doesn't like sauces, that's probably an absolute fucking violation. Because I love sauces and think it's a violation. Don't put yourself somewhere over there.
I mean, I eat barbecue sauce.
Yeah, with ketchup in it.
So yeah, this week, they decided to go ahead and double down on this one.
Yeah, that was on my list. That was actually bullet point number 2.
Yeah. They not only did RFK come out and say, we're going to look at rescheduling it, but Trump actually signed an EO for it. And, the backlash was pretty instantaneous when it came to like the AMA, AAP, ACP all condemned it. Everybody came out and said, this is ridiculous.
Ridiculous. So I'll be honest with you, like when the anti-vaxxer movement kind of got a little bigger, a little more mainstream, or I paid attention to it, I don't really know which one of those is true. So, and we're talking about maybe 6 to 8 years ago, right? Like, of course, I'm very pro-science and I'm very pro-people smarter than me, making decisions that I can't logically comprehend. But the one thing I did realize was like that some of the people I talked to about it, they weren't trying to eliminate like those core 10 that we got, because we only got like 10, right? They're trying to limit, like, I didn't know that kids got like 32 of them. Or
I think
that's not the real. It's not the real. It's exaggeration for dramatical effect. It's not the real fucking number.
All right,
but it's no longer 10, right? It's quite a bit more than
that. I mean, not by
like
much,
they get the chickenpox vaccine, they get this vaccine, they get that, right? So, which we probably would have got it had they had those back then. But
do you remember having chickenpox?
Yeah,
because I remember having chickenpox.
Yeah,
I remember having
on your tongue.
I had it on my fucking dick. Like right on the tip. I had to pick it off each time I wanted to take a piss.
That's fucking hilarious. You suck. That did not happen. That did not happen to me. I can see why you vehemently would have taken that bit. That's probably pretty fucking virile. So, but no, like it's really interesting. So I kind of understood, like, okay, like maybe we don't absolutely like, okay, like they offer me the pneumonia vaccine like all the time now.
Sure. It's because you're old.
I don't. Yeah, that's kind of the thing he says, but so I don't take that one, right?
I got pneumonia twice. What was it? It wasn't last year, it was the year before.
Yeah. So I kind of understand, but like things like that, but the core, especially the core 4, right? Including the triple, the MMR, like they literally are going to split it to the M, the M, and the R. Most people meet measles, mumps, and rubella. You don't want any of those things.
No, and
measles is under a huge resurgence. So, but I did see something the other day, right? So I do have I wouldn't really call it a friend. It's a person I know. It's an acquaintance. Like we worked together in the past, and she is like the original anti-vaxxer, right? Like from the old school anti-vaxxers, like long term. And she put a post up the other day that said, it's gotten bad when the queen of anti-vax just vaccinated her children.
They all vaccinate their kids. They take the vaccines themselves. Like Trump has gotten every single COVID vaccine available.
I'm talking about this actual personal individual I know in my personal life. Like none of her children, and they're older. You know what I'm saying? Like 12.
Well, now she knows that they won't get autism because,
No, it wasn't about that. It was about that so many people are doing dumb shit now that like measles is spreading like wildfire and like lethal things that will absolutely shatter people's existence or kill them. So she got her children vaccinated. And like, this is like the one person in my life who I've always respected because her reasonings and viewpoints were always based in intelligence. Necessarily not something like she openly admitted, yeah, it's probably good, but this is why I don't do it. Right. And it wasn't crazy conspiracy theories. It was, questionable personal choices, but not crazy conspiracy theories. Right. Her reasonings were rooted in fundamental, reality, at least to some degree. And she vaccinated her children. And it's like, that's how far this administration has pushed people. That even the old school loonies have now become like, nope, got to go mainstream because this dude's really trying to kill everybody.
Yeah. I mean,
so then there is that autism vaccines. They like to push that. Yeah. But my current question to them, and no one's answered it yet, is if that is true, then how come there's autism present in the unvaccinated population?
So, I mean, that's part of the science, autism as a something that happens across all demographics stays even regardless of vaccine status or, anything like that. So that's one strike. Number two is there is like no correlation to people getting their vaccine and developing autism. I take that back. So there's a very, very loose correlation based on age, but they found by delaying any vaccine that it doesn't change when people start presenting with autism.
Because, you don't say. Because maybe they're not linked.
And then there's the fact that we know what goes into a vaccine, and we know what levels of different chemicals a human can ingest or internalize before it starts having negative effects. And none of them reach anywhere close to the threshold necessary. And
you can even request vaccine without those now.
I mean,
but you can. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like if that is your reason, right? You can make a special request, which requires very elite timing because those are preservatives. They're only in there for preservative reasons so that the vaccine can stay viable for a very long time.
Shelf stable. Yeah.
Right. So shelf stable. I don't know. But I did see the other day, and I can't do his voice very well, but I do understand it. I don't understand how we have somebody in charge of science that sounds like Darth Vader choking on a pickle. Like, I don't.
That's from the heroin. We all know.
I know what it's from. So I know what it, like, you say a lot about vaccines, but you used to shoot heroin. So I don't know, bro. It's kind of crazy that, like, I mean, I don't know what it's going to take. Is it going to take like a really bad strain of measles that just starts like in a way, modern medicine is at fault too, because they get these things, and modern medicine can keep these kids alive now through these diseases.
We've talked about how we've taken Darwin out of the equation, and
we have.
maybe we shouldn't have.
We shouldn't have.
So
absolutely not. Bring him back front and center. Build a statue. So build a fucking statue. Okay, now you flip to Todd Blanche.
Yeah,
he actually got confirmed, bro. I can't fucking believe it.
I know. He did actually come out and say that he wouldn't support the
anti-weaponization fund.
Well, no. Well, yes, but the IRS audit immunity. So
yeah. That's the anti-weaponization fund. It's tied into that.
Right. Well, yeah.
That's tied into that. But so a lot of them have said things like there's 3 or 4 justices that said they wouldn't overturn Roe.
Yeah.
Well, and that was what held them up from confirmation. And then they said, "Oh yeah, we won't do that."
Yeah. Well, and the whole weaponization of that, and denying the fact that we didn't riot when they denied Obama his nomination is, I fully believe why we're here. Nipped it in the bud at that
Mitch
point.
McConnell.
Yeah. That dead motherfucker.
So the Mitch McConnell show, where he just completely said, "No, we're not going to do this for a year because there's an election."
Yeah.
So that's a while, but that goes on to and this is where I will, and I always will, and I feel them, and I do have love for them, because pound for pound, at the end of the day, we're on the same side. Shit, you're close to being one. But elections have consequences, and sometimes you have to swallow your pride when you're a hyper left progressive and understand your time didn't come right now, but you cannot allow certain things to happen.
Right.
And you have to, for the sanctity of the world, go with the lesser evil, right? I wanted nothing to do with her, right?
Yep.
Clinton, nothing. I wanted Bernie. I was a Bernie bro through and through. I wanted nothing to do with her. I couldn't handle her. I don't like her. I don't think she's all the things they say she is, but I just don't like her. But I walked into the fucking box and I punched her name, because elections have consequences. And a lot not going to that midterm because you were mad and losing the Senate. And that led to Merrick Garland not being on the Supreme Court, because that's where he would be. He would have never ended up being the AG and done a terrible job.
Right.
That was the AG?
Yeah.
And Biden? Yeah. So,
yeah.
And that was them going, "Hey, sorry, we couldn't do this for you earlier," but he would sit on the Supreme Court and Roe wouldn't be overturned. There's lots of things that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
But
they probably wouldn't have pushed so hard to raise Trump up if they didn't have that writing. Yeah. I think that the establishment Republicans would have fumbled that ball, but because they had their eye on the prize and they were able to focus, they sunk everything into him as soon as he pulled ahead, and and they were able to get that ball rolling.
The rest is fucking history. But no, it's you have to. I don't know worldwide. I want to say, there's a lot of sayings that happen, like humans are selfish. Not 100% sure that's true. I'm not. Americans are selfish. That's for sure.
Okay.
Right? I can tell you that. I don't know if that's a human condition or an American condition. I truly don't know. I don't spend enough time with foreigners in other countries, right? Maybe they're not selfish at all. Maybe human beings aren't naturally selfish. I know the Indians weren't necessarily naturally selfish in any way. The natives.
The Native Americans.
Yes, Indians. I don't understand why I have to separate these two. Like, we're not
Well,
talking about
because
H-1B visas here. We're
I
not talking
know
about
I know
H-1B
lots
visas.
of Hindus, and you know,
Yeah, I know what you're about to say, and that would have been fucked up. So that's okay. I stopped myself too. So, but at the end of the day, like that's there's 3 separate elections I can point to. So the 2014 midterm, 2016 general, and then the 2022 midterm. And those were all very selfish decisions, right? Now, I don't want to say the 24 general, even though I think it was. I think that was, as we just spoke about earlier, more failures on the institution's part than failures on the people's part. It was a failure of both, but the institution kind of opened the door wide open by kind of just absolutely slapping that together like a monkey doing a fucking math. So I just don't understand why people don't understand how severe the consequences can be. And now, the hyper progressives, like when I do say something to them, like, well, Roe's overturned, so you feel good about that? Because you caused that directly because you refused to vote, or you threw your vote to Jill fucking Stein for the 3rd time. So what good did that do? Yeah, that's your power vote. And now they use flock cameras to track women in Texas and put them in jail because they went and had an abortion. So great job voting for Jill Stein. Fucking proud of you.
yeah, yep.
Because it happened. It happened because that group of people, and I'm not saying the other group of people that actually voted for him they're more culpable. But you want to be off scot-free and say it's not my fault that I had to do that because they didn't put up who I wanted to. We fucking for real here? Like, they didn't do what I wanted them to do. So nana boo boo. Get the fuck over yourself. Like, at some point, you have to look at the whole and say, I have to do what is best for the whole, what is best for the greater good, right? I cast votes in my life for all women, even the ones who voted against their own interests. I pushed Clinton and puked in my mouth. But I did it for all the people in the world, whether they were going to do it for themselves or not. I didn't want to. I wanted that in the primary. I certainly didn't push that fucking button. You know what I'm saying? But that was our opportunity. And that's what I think the far left needs to understand. You have opportunities, and those opportunities are called primaries. And they have kind of learned that a little bit because there are more and more hyper progressive candidates winning primaries. So you've learned how this works. Like, welcome to the party bit fucking late.
Well, I mean, when one side pulls too far,
Rubber band.
to the edge, yeah. So I didn't know this part. I didn't see that there were 1,200 former DOJ employees and the Epstein survivors all called on the Senate to block Blanche.
Yeah, because he's a fuckwad. But that's not surprising. The whole administration is douchery. Speaking of which, means that we're just on things, right? KKK Caroline fucking left.
Yeah. I mean, that one. Some people are saying, oh, maybe she grew a conscience.
No,
maybe.
No, she didn't.
I don't believe so either.
No. He left her on a plane he thought was going to get shot down and bailed on her, and she got pissed off. That's what actually fucking happened. I'd be shitty too.
Took some 35-year-old dime piece though, from what I hear.
A new one?
No, there was
on the other plane.
Well, in the food truck.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of different versions of what it was in the food truck. That's kind of dope though. So that's like when he got in the garbage truck. I thought that was actually pretty dope. And then when he worked at the McDonald's, I thought that was pretty dope too. I'm not going to fuck with you. I thought those things, and they worked.
Yeah.
So,
of course.
Well, if I think it's pretty dope, it's going to work. I'm never going to vote for you because of it, but good move. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why she stepped down. Like, oh, I have kids and I go to full bat for you. And you left me on the fucking plane. You were feeling had strong intelligence that was going to get shot down out of the sky. So I'm not ready to take that much of one for the team.
Yeah. Now here's one that I didn't really understand. I didn't read the law, but the House passed the stock trading ban.
Yes.
Only 2 Democrats voted for it.
I agree that's one of them fuckery things where that side's presenting it so bad. No, this is a solid bill, which it should be passed. If you serve in public office, especially at that high of a level, you should not be allowed to trade for those years.
Right. Well, and that doesn't mean that, you can't grow your portfolio. You just need to have a manager do it.
No, that's
you
what I'm saying.
Can't have any.
You give it to one of the hedgies.
Ties to that. Yeah.
You give it to one of the hedgies and let the hedgie handle it. And they can, it's not that you can't continue to acquire and bloom wealth, but you can't personally make the call about the trade because you just got out of a meeting finding out that Wop Wop was going to get a $700 billion contract.
Yeah. Or that
and now all of a sudden you buy 20 million shares of Wop Wop.
Or that Trump's about to come out and make another announcement about manipulating oil.
Well, up and down and up and down and up and down. So
I think Trump, that vein is getting exhausted, though. This last time, oil only jumped up to 88 a barrel. So I think we'll start to see some resolution there now that they can't squeeze any more money out of it.
Yeah, because I think the overall market is tired of the back and forth.
Yeah. And here's another thing. Why is it that they can vote 5 times on a bill and still have it how can you vote on it 4 times and not have it automatically have to go to the back of the line? I don't understand why.
The Constitution.
What? It doesn't say anything about that.
It's got to be in there. So are the rules, and there's the other, I don't remember what the other document is, but the rules and regulations.
Bill of Rights?
No, motherfucker. So I'm one of the few people who can name all 10. So a couple of them, a lot of people don't understand, like the enumeration, but we'll get over that. But no, they've referred to it a few times. It's I'm not that political, right? But there is a set of rules and guidelines for how Congress is to act.
They do. Yeah, they do have a decorum that they follow.
And so that's why, because it's in there. And that was also written by the white wigs.
That they can just pick up whatever bill they want to vote on every day until
the heads come home, bro, for sure. So, but
that just seems like it just seems wrong to me that we can't hear any other bills because there's this one thing that we have to get done and nothing else will happen until this, advances. I mean, that
we weren't going to get anything done anyways, man. It's not gonna.
I know. Well, yeah, but there's so many things that need addressed that actually need addressed, and I did hear about a couple of bills that ran through with a 100% vote to the yay, and those kinds of things we don't focus too much on, but those things still need to happen, and they've passed less legislation in this Congress than any other Congress before them.
That's not true.
At least at pace.
No, the first one, Trump 45. They didn't do shit either. It's not as bad as this. I guess this is a little bit worse, but that's what he's good at. He's got to be better than the last time.
I don't think he didn't have all 3.
No, he didn't have all 3, which is one of the reasons it was stalemated, right?
Yeah. But for having the entire thing,
he might have had all 3 for the first 2 years.
I don't think so.
Or did the Democrats still have the Senate?
I think they had still had the House.
Still the House? I don't know. We could look that up, I'm sure. Yeah, you're right. I mean, they are just continuing to do that, right? Voter ID also failed. Budget resolution to shield GOP senators from a politically damaging vote before recess. Because if I'm right, this recess is till after the election, right? No,
it's
no, it's too late.
but it is.
The election's almost here, man. It's football season, so
Football.
it's a sport. It's a sport that Americans play.
No, it's not. It's a sport that the rest of the world plays.
Different football. So, all right. Inflation stalls, rate hike coming. That's what they keep saying.
Well, and now I'm hearing, that because of the poor jobs number and some heavy revisions done to past months, it's looking clear that the economy is not doing as well as people think, that the AI bubble is really what's driving a lot of this, and that as jobs are drying up and there's no sector that's not being affected, other than AI, and even there, I think that some of them are overvalued. I know I moved out some of my tech stock, and I'm looking at moving into other
nuclear.
I mean,
nuclear. That's where I put my money right now.
Berkshire's already put a lot onto that.
I mean, I'm by no means a financial. I can give all the financial advice I want, but everyone needs to understand I'm just some fuckwad. So
yeah, right.
So I have no certifications to worry about.
Yeah, and so we see that gas prices are still over $4 a gallon. 29%. It's up 29% year over year. And I think that, I don't think that they will raise rates until after the midterms.
I agree with that.
So
I think that that's not necessarily, some people will say because he's putting weight on it. I think that's one of those, like, kind of like the Mueller thing, right? Where there's precedent that we just don't do certain things.
Well, I don't think that's at all what it is. I think it has to do with the fact that because we're seeing indicators going in different directions, it's hard to know if, raising the rates or lowering the rates would help. So we just stay steady until
we don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to, because he's
drunk. That's what he is.
Well, he's a wild card, right? Like, he's an absolute wild card. So you don't know what he's going to do, and everything he does changes what you need to do.
Right.
So, because if you do go right and he goes left, you're fucked. And if you go right and he goes right, you're probably still fucked. So I kind of understand their position, because you don't have a operator, right? Because at the end of the day, the presidency is the operations department.
Right.
Right. But you don't have operations that are following any kind of SOP and have any clue in the world what the fuck they're doing. So it's not good. It's 10 out of 10 not good. But I think 0.25% hike would kind of suck for a lot of people. So that housing market's already fairly unattainable for a lot.
Yeah. Well, and we're seeing, I was just talking with some people about kind of where we're at. In my area, we're seeing a smaller shrinking of house values. But again, I've said this before, because this area has been behind as far as median house value for quite a while. So but we've already seen kind of the shrink back from the highs that we saw during the first 2 years of Biden, 3 years, probably 3 years of Biden. So I think that housing is going to kind of stall a little bit, but kind of keep pricing fairly stable as interest rates kind of slow things down. But material costs and things like that have kind of stabilized since the
Yeah,
disaster that COVID was. So I
that's
think
really true.
and housing is one of those anchors for the economy. So if we can keep the housing market stable, which unfortunately requires that people have jobs that are paying them enough to survive, I think that fuel, or energy and food, which ultimately is energy, are the two biggest factors that are keeping people from being able to do much. I think that we've already started to see a slowdown in travel and leisure. I know some of the ventures that I have are all about expendable or yeah, expendable.
You're hurting here,
Yep.
and I'm
Money
not really sure what the fuck you is
they can
saying.
spend on fun. Jeez, oh Pete's.
Okay,
Basically exotic pets and are one of those things where people buy them when they have extra money to spend. And that market has been hit pretty hard. So yeah,
okay.
we're
Iran said,
heading
"Fuck
in.
off."
Oh man, did they say fuck off? Did you watch the videos that Iran's been
Yes,
freaking trolling Trump on?
they are the trollers too.
Geez, oh Pete's. Like, I'm surprised that oh man, my brain just stopped all of a sudden.
Bananas.
What embassy? The embassy that was posting all that stuff. I'm surprised that thing hasn't been leveled.
That's fair.
I'm really surprised. Now, I did not find anything, but we had heard about Iran hitting a Amazon data center.
Yeah, I
Did you
somebody did.
ever?
No, I did not see. I could not verify.
Okay,
I could not
so
verify.
I don't know what that's all about, but I have heard that there is some action happening with troops moving around.
Okay,
I don't have details because they can't share that with me, but there is movement in that regard, and we're talking large units of movement.
okay.
So
That's So you think we invade?
I don't know. I think some of it might just be posturing,
Okay.
because he really does not want to. I really hope that he does not want to do that, because that's so much. I mean, the Russians were able to get North Korea to talked into sending 50,000 troops over into Ukraine to help stabilize their war effort. And we're already seeing that Iran is still tossing munitions, so they're not out, and the strait is still not flowing. We're running out of reserves, and they're at what, like 1/10 of what their normal shipping is through the strait,
Right.
which is 20% of the world's supply. So it's a slow sink into a larger crisis that we're not seeing, because the price per barrel is fairly stable depending on what Trump announces each day. But that's not taking into account fertilizer prices, which are still, I think they're still going up. We're hitting the end of planting season, so I think that after this season, that's when we're going to see the increases. So late corn, winter wheat, all that stuff is going to skyrocket, and that means that meat prices are going to go back up. Well, are going to keep going up, rather. So
Yeah.
Yep. Let's just move on to Netanyahu.
It knows that you're going to absolutely talk about this every week. It knows. It's like this motherfucker right here.
All right. So 15-point document. Netanyahu straight up rejected. Just so you know, Hamas is what they're calling any Muslim at this point.
Well, duh.
I guess there's some discrepancy about what was supposed to be on that, which that's Trump for you. Yeah. And Hamas is playing the moderate again. And I think didn't they just have elections? I think that they just had elections, so that will probably be something that we talk about next week. I know it was supposed to be sometime soon, but they're holding elections in the West Bank and in Gaza, so they're coming back around to the moderates that we started dealing with when they decided to become a political faction instead of a terrorist faction.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Israel has any intention of not continuing to kill everybody.
To kill everybody, destroying genocide evidence.
I mean, at this point, if World War III happens, it's because of them. I'm just putting it out there.
You strongly feel that way.
I do strongly feel that way. 300 children killed in 300 days since the ceasefire that Ryan is convinced isn't a ceasefire.
It's not a ceasefire.
It's not a ceasefire.
There was never a ceasefire. It never actually, they just words. It's words.
4,091 ceasefire violations over 300 days.
Yeah, that's 3. You keep calling it violations, bro. You keep calling it violations, bro. You just go ahead and keep calling it violations of something that never only fucking happened.
There's only 8 nations that have issued a joint condemnation of
okay.
Israel is trucking out rubble to hide genocide and redraw the map. Like I said, this has nothing to do with terrorism. This has everything to do with them wanting to take territory.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's literally colonialism.
Yep.
That's
through violence.
100%. Well, that's all colonialism. It's through fucking violence.
Well, some colonialism, starts off with, hey, we're here to help you. Have these blankets.
These blankets. The amount of people who will not know that reference is sad.
Right?
It's really sad. Have these blankets.
So this one actually has a lot. We had some confirmations that went through. There's going to be more dismantling of the federal government. They're focused on breaking up unions so that they're not as strong lobbying organizations, and so that the corporate overlords can continue exploiting American labor.
Okay.
And then Supreme Court has continued to give the administration basically carte blanche for firing anybody that they want,
That's very true.
regardless of whether or not it's
Making
clear.
sense or
It's clear retaliation and targeting of people that disagree with a party.
yeah. But that elections have consequences.
Yeah.
I talked about that earlier in a way.
Did you now?
Yeah.
I think you only mentioned it 3 times. Jeez. This is basically just a summary of what we went through. And we are at time.
We're at time, but we're only 2 minutes over in 6 seconds, dude. We were almost going to make it, and then Israel. But yeah, super exciting. And then another week gone by, and we'll see what kind of fuckery. We'll see who he leaves on the tarmac this week. If he just keeps leaving them all on the tarmac or putting them on the bomb plane, they'll fucking leave. So, Stephen Miller next, please. Thank you.
Yes, please.
He kind of disappeared too. So,
no. He was front and center for the vaccine bit.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that does make sense. So, all right. Till next week.
Scab on Bluebird.
Till next week. Scab on the Bluebird. Scab on the Bluebird. So, till next week, y'all. Bluebird, your shoulder. Thank you for tuning in.